Hello, this is Harry. In this video, let's watch a classic action film, First Blood, starring Sylvester Stallone. Rambo was a veteran who survived the Vietnam War. He went to visit a comrade full of expectations. But he learned that his comrade died of Agent Orange during the Vietnam War. Rambo became the only surviving veteran on the team. He walked along the highway sadly and confusedly to the town of Hope. The sheriff in the town, Will, saw Rambo's appearance as a homeless man and spoke badly. Then he offered to give him a ride. In the car, Rambo asked Will where there was a place to eat. Will told him there was a restaurant 30 miles away on the highway. Turned out Will didn't really want to offer Rambo a ride but to take Rambo away from the town. Rambo asked him, "Is there a law against me getting something to eat here?" Will answered, "Yeah, me." Rambo didn't understand, he did nothing. Why was this person so aggressive? Will saw in the rearview mirror as he took Rambo away from the town that Rambo suddenly returned to the original path. So he stopped Rambo and asked to check his ID. After finding a saber on Rambo, Rambo was arrested on charges of vagrancy, resisting arrest, and carrying weapons. At the police station, the chief deputy, Art, first beat Rambo with a baton. He was tortured with a high-pressure water pipe again and again. Rambo didn't show any expressions. But when the policeman shook the bayonet before his eyes, he remembered the scene of the enemy torturing during the Vietnam War. Finally, Rambo was emotionally uncontrollable and escaped from the police station. He grabbed a motorcycle on the road and galloped into the forest. Will drove a police car to chase after him, but the mountain road was narrow and uneven. And the car rolled over to the hillside. Rambo also fell off his motorcycle and ran deep into the forest on foot. Will arranged for police dogs and helicopters to hunt for Rambo. At this time, Rambo was blocked by the cliff. The police behind with the dogs were getting closer. Rambo had to venture down the cliff. At this time, Art on the helicopter found Rambo on the cliff. At the dangerous moment, Rambo decisively jumped towards a big tree under the cliff and came to the ground safely. His arm was also injured with a long cut. Art lowered the helicopter and continued to shoot Rambo. The opponent was pressing so hard, Rambo picked up a rock and hit the helicopter. The sudden swing of the fuselage caused Art to fall into the canyon and fell to death. Rambo stepped forward and took his gun and radio communication, then he hid and sutured the wound on his arm. Will and others came to the cliff and saw Art, who fell to his death in the canyon. At this moment, Rambo walked out to shout to Will. He didn't want anyone to get hurt and repeatedly stressed that he did nothing wrong. But the frustrated Will still fired the gun at Rambo. Rambo saw that he couldn't make peace and could only run into the forest. Will called the base again to request helicopter reinforcements. The officer told Will that Rambo was a veteran of the Vietnam Special Forces, he won the Congressional Medal of Honor and was a war hero. Will dismissed him and thought that Rambo was just a person and was injured. So he led the police to continue the search. At this moment, a shadow flashed by and they released police dogs to pursue. Not knowing whether the police dogs had gone or not, one of them planted a gun. Will let the police spread out and round up. Rambo lay in the grass and suddenly got up and stabbed a police officer in the thigh. The others gathered following the shouts. Rambo fell from the sky and fought alone. One of the officers saw Rambo shooting so quickly but he didn't want to hit his colleagues by mistake. The officer who fired the shot thought he had hit Rambo and went forward to pursue Rambo. As a result, Rambo's trap was stabbed in his leg. At this time, Will, who was alone, was not injured. When he wanted to rescue a police officer, Rambo suddenly jumped out and put a knife on his neck to give the final warning. "I could have killed them all. I could have killed you. In town, you're the law, out here, it's me. Don't push it, or I'll give you a war you won't believe." Will was so frightened that he couldn't feel his legs and almost cried. Immediately afterward, the police rescue team rushed to send the injured officers back. The unreasonable media reports claimed that Rambo not only killed a deputy sheriff but also tried to kill 6 other police officers. Fortunately, the police officers survived using special training skills. Rambo's merciful warning couldn't exchange for Will's resignation. At this time, a person called Colonel Sam came and asked for Rambo to come back. Sam claimed that he trained Rambo and commanded him in Vietnam for 3 years. Will said that Rambo was now a civilian and this belonged to his jurisdiction. Sam said to Will, "I don't think you understand. I didn't come here to rescue Rambo from you. I came here to rescue you from him." Rambo was not only an expert in guerrilla warfare but also a master with swords, guns, and bare hands. Sam was surprised that these people could survive until now. He suggested letting Rambo go and wanted him nationwide. There would be no fighting and no more injuries. But Will disagreed. He thought 200 people were enough to deal with Rambo. Sam tried to persuade him, so he had no choice but to bring more body bags when he went. After listening to Sam's words, seeing Rambo's combat effectiveness with his own eyes, Will had no idea. He hoped Sam could contact Rambo over the radio to persuade him to surrender. At this time, Rambo was eating roasted wild boar makeup in a cave. He didn't bother to hear the police's advice on the radio. When Sam picked up the walkie-talkie and called out Rambo's nickname in the army, Rambo immediately woke up. He told Sam, "There wouldn't be no trouble except for that king shit cop. All I wanted was something to eat." But the man kept pushing, "Sir." Then no matter how Sam called, he wouldn't answer again. At this point, Will had found out Rambo's location by radio. At dawn the next day, the brigade began a search operation. Rambo met a hunting boy in the forest. He didn't hurt him when he saw that the guy was just a child. But he shot the boy's father without hesitation. The search team surrounded Rambo in the cave following the gunfire. But such a large group of people couldn't be Rambo's rival with only one gun. They didn't want to go near the entrance of the cave, so they blew up the cave with a rocket launcher. Rambo ran to the other side of the cave. Will came here and said to Sam with a slight irony, buried in a hole by a bunch of goddamn weekend warriors. Thought you said he was the best you ever trained. He was just another drifter that broke the law. Sam answered, vagrancy, wasn't it? Here lies John Rambo, winner of the Congressional Medal of Honor. Survivor of countless incursions behind enemy lines. Killed for vagrancy, in Jerkwater, USA. Rambo made a torch from the oil left by the hunter in the cave. Then he followed the cave to find the exit. When everyone thought Rambo was killed and ready to retreat, Rambo grabbed a search team military vehicle and drove towards the town. After receiving the news, Will arranged for the entire staff to intercept Rambo in the town. But Rambo didn't even bother and went straight over. The military vehicle stopped at the gas station and Rambo took a machine gun and 2 boxes of ammunition. Then he detonated the car. When all the police rushed to the scene, Rambo brought the weapon to the police station to look for Will. He destroyed the surrounding first, then blew up the weapon arsenal. Will poked his head on the roof to check the situation and was discovered by Rambo. Rambo made a random call to the police officer. Then he sneaked into the office and shot towards the ceiling. Will was hit and fell down the meter. Sam showed up just when Rambo was about to shoot. He persuaded Rambo to put down his weapons and promised to send Rambo out of here. At this time, a large number of polices were surrounded here. Rambo still wanted to continue fighting when Sam ordered him to stop. If you won't end this happen, they'll kill you. Rambo yelled at Sam, nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off. Vietnam War wasn't my war. You asked me, I didn't ask you. And I come back to the world, and I see all those maggots at the airport, protesting me, spittin'. While talking, this tough guy who seemed to be cast in steel cried helplessly in Sam's arms. His comrades left one after another, and they were spurned by society and the public. Vietnam veterans were allowed to come back from the war, but they met more bitter hatred than on the battlefield from society's disapproval. Well, this video ends here. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, see you next time.